Tonight on CTV News at 6, fatality fears confirmed. Safety demands after a pedestrian death.
I said it's going to come to a death at some point, and here we are a few months later, and sadly it's happened.
Dozens of flights affected after a plane has a problem on a YEG runway. And Francis is back. The statue of a four-legged red deer legend is reinforced, soon to be revealed.
I was told that there are many letters from kids asking for him to be brought back. So that's gratifying.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. People living in a West Edmonton neighborhood say the city is ignoring their concerns about traffic safety. They're pushing for safety measures to be added to an intersection where a woman recently died. As Evan Kenny reports, they've complained about that intersection before.
Nick Aaron has lived in Edgemont for 6 years and has been complaining about this intersection for 5 of them.
Myself and a lot of neighbors have submitted requests to the EPS, the city, and 311 expressing our concerns about the speed on this road for a long time.
A 65-year-old woman was hit and killed here last Friday.
I spoke to a police officer just down the street a few months ago. They were dealing with another matter, and I said it's going to come to a death at some point, and here we are a few months later, and sadly it's happened.
Police say the woman was walking with her 11-year-old grandson along Edgemont Boulevard, crossing Edgemont Way, when a pickup truck turning left struck her. Charges have not been laid.
It's problematic in almost every residential area throughout the city.
Constable Trevor Henderson patrols this area once a week. He says on average, he'll pull over 10 cars an hour for a variety of traffic infractions.
Speed, heavy trucks, off-truck route, and stop sign violations in this area.
Henderson says one of the biggest problems is drivers rushing through the intersection.
It says S-T-O-P. It's stop. It doesn't mean roll through. The wheels come to a stop. There's no more forward motion. You stop at the stop sign.
Aaron is hoping police and the city can do more to stop people from driving dangerously here.
Unfortunately, we can't count on people to do the right thing and actually follow the speed limits, so speed bumps and lights need to be in place to slow the traffic around here.
Area Councillor Sarah Hamilton says the Safe Mobility team is doing traffic studies and implementing various safety measures in the neighborhood. She's also asked the team to reevaluate this intersection. Evan Kenny, CTV News, Edmonton.
The city says last year the intersection received enhanced pavement markings for safety and visibility. It says once police are done their investigation, a thorough safety review of the location will be conducted. A skateboarder is in hospital with life-threatening injuries after being hit by a car in Mill Woods. Edmonton police say a 38-year-old man was skateboarding down the sidewalk on 23rd Ave yesterday afternoon. When he went through the marked crosswalk at 91st Street, a car hit him. The driver was not injured. Police believe no one was speeding or impaired. Anyone with dash cam footage of the crash is asked to contact police. Air Canada says a problem with one of its planes at the Edmonton International Airport last night was caused by a gear retraction issue. A spokesperson for the airline says shortly after departure, the Calgary-bound plane returned to the airport. Once on the ground, engineers found it had a mechanical issue with its nose gear. Passengers were taken back to the terminal by bus. Air Canada says it arranged for the 39 people to board a flight later that night. The issue caused disruptions throughout the rest of the airport. Across all airlines, there were 22 cancellations, 10 delays, and 5 diversions that eventually landed. AUPE members will vote on a new collective agreement with the province. Members will have from Friday to Wednesday to approve or vote against it. If the majority of members vote against the agreement, they'll go on strike before September the 9th. Some of the recommendations include a salary increase of 3% per year over 4 years, weekend shift premiums on evening and nights, and more. It also proposes pay increases for seasonal wildfire personnel ranging from 19 to 31% over the life of the agreement. The union represents more than 95,000 provincial employees. The Alberta Next panel heads to Lloydminster tonight, a day after receiving praise and criticism in Fort McMurray. The panel is traveling Alberta to speak about what Danielle Smith says are grievances inspiring separatist sentiment. The panel has pitched 6 policy ideas, including pulling out of the Canada Pension Plan and creating a provincial police force to replace the RCMP. The panels have been hearing from people with varying opinions.
Poll after poll has shown that the vast majority of Albertans support the Canadian Pension Plan and want to stay in the plan. Why does your government continue to go against the clear wishes of Albertans and pursue a pension plan that we don't want?
The more I read and the more I dig into the truth of the Canada Pension Plan, I would just encourage everybody to do that. It's pathetic and it's gross mismanagement.
5 more in-person town halls will be held next month, followed by 2 online events in October. Alberta is moving ahead with changes to its electricity market as new sources come online. Demand is expected to soar. The Alberta Electric System Operator says its restructured energy market will make the provincial grid more reliable and affordable for customers. The plan will also seek to attract more private projects to Alberta's grid. Among the major changes is the introduction of pricing that will see electricity costs vary by location based on grid demand. There will also be more incentives for generators to ramp up supply when demand is high.
Reliability really is what remains our top priority, and the restructured energy market introduces solutions that will strengthen the grid. It's going to allow Alberta to integrate more intermittent renewables onto the system, and it's going to support continued demand growth.
The new market design will be implemented in mid-2027. CEO of Trans Mountain says there's no rush to build another pipeline.
Optimize the kit that you have, which you can do in steps over time, and then add capacity as it's needed. And then you have time to evaluate the bigger issue, which is, do you need another pipeline somewhere?
Speaking with CTV News Chief Political Correspondent Vashi Kapelos, Mark Mackey said Ottawa should focus on maximizing capacity before approving new pipeline projects. The federal government purchased the Trans Mountain Pipeline for $4.5 billion in 2018. It then spent $34 billion to expand it. Right now, the TMX operates at about 85% capacity. Ottawa says it is working on nation-building infrastructure projects that will be announced in the fall. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith has been pushing for major pipelines to be included. Members of the Mustard Seed are sharing their memories of the 96th Street Church. A decommissioning service was held this morning to mark the church's closure. The century-old building stopped operating last October because of structural concerns and the high cost of restoration. For more than 4 decades, Boyle Street Community Services has used the space to serve meals to people in need. The Christian nonprofit says the church has been significant in the community.
There's a gentleman I met here that came to this event that was baptized in this church, that attended it from 1937, he told me, until 1951, and he's here today. And so the memories of the personal lives impacted here in terms of personal faith journeys, but also the impact of our community, on the community from our volunteers and staff. For sure, it's going to be missed.
The Mustard Seed says it doesn't know what's next for the property once the church is demolished this fall. It will continue running its food hamper program at 2 other shelters. The city of Red Deer is preparing to welcome home one of its most famous residents. As Amanda Anderson reports, Francis the Pig disappeared for a couple of years to allow the artist to reinforce the bronze statue's base to prevent theft.
He's smiling.
Donik Moshensky has a smile of his own, knowing he helped keep the bronze sculpture he made of the iconic Francis the Pig safe. In 2023, while showing a friend his work, he noticed the sculpture mounts had been cut.
The only thing that I could imagine is somebody had prepared it to steal that very night.
It's hard to say, what the intent was there. So once that was noticed, we immediately took Francis off display.
The pig's disappearance didn't go unnoticed.
I was told that there are many letters from kids asking for him to be brought back. So that's gratifying.
In the summer of 1990, Francis the Pig escaped a slaughterhouse in Red Deer, jumping over a 4-foot wall around the kill floor, making his way outside to freedom.
The story became national news and I believe was even covered internationally.
The pig eluded capture for months. People reported sightings and school kids sent letters pleading for the pig to be saved.
Here was this pig that tested the odds and, rebelled against the system and managed to escape to freedom. And people loved that. People loved that this little guy had created his own chance for himself.
His story was immortalized in the sculpture that went on display in 1998. It's taken nearly 2 years to create a new base for Francis.
There are 2 upright rails from a railroad in there, so there's not going to be much of a way to saw through all that.
He also points out it's not pure copper, so there's little value if it was ever stolen for scrap. Francis is now in his new home near the Central Spray and Play Park.
Well, it's delightful to have it there.
The city is hoping to keep his new look a surprise until Friday's official unveiling.
We've started a bit of a hashtag Francis Friday, and we're kind of hoping that we might make that be a thing annually.
Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Red Deer.
The weather is heating up, and so are the Edmonton Elks. The team decided to do something a little different during practice today.
We're also pairing it with a little family barbecue to get the guys out with their teammates.
A lighter mood on the field with a barbecue and the team playing different games like cornhole. The head coach says he wants his team to feel connected ahead of Monday's Labor Day Classic in Calgary against the Stampeders. With temperatures passing 30 degrees today, the players were enjoying the relaxed practice.
So things like this to get all the families together, get people to meet each other's kids, each other's wives, and just spend some time together that's not totally football focused. Just cut loose and have a little fun is a nice opportunity for us, yeah.
The Elks have won 3 straight games and are now back in the CFL playoff race with 8 games left in their season. Now, with the first look at your weather, here's CTV's Jackie Perez.
It was another hot and sunny day in Edmonton with the potential of another record-setting high. Now, the heat warning has extended not just for Edmonton, but into really all of Alberta, even to parts of Saskatchewan. And here's the thing, that we could see daily temperatures between 28 and 33 last until the weekend. Taking a look at conditions for this evening, not much relief once the sun sets, about 25 degrees, clear skies. But then tomorrow, a little bit of relief starting off the day at 15 degrees. But then we're going to nearly double the temperatures, getting a daytime high of 33 degrees. And the heat warning expected to stay in place for the province well into the weekend. We will have these details and more in a bit.
Stay with us. Coming up, controlled explosions rocking an Alberta neighborhood. Calgary police say they're dealing with a very volatile substance as they investigate multiple suspicious packages. Also next.
If they can see it and they realize it's there, then it gives them a better chance of not striking the window.
How you can help prevent deadly window strikes that impact millions of migrating birds.
Brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Police in Calgary are dealing with suspicious packages in 2 different locations. Explosive experts are disposing of hazardous materials found at one site. As CTV's Terry Fikowski reports, police say they're dealing with a very volatile substance.
Each explosion bigger and louder than the last. Calgary Police's Tactical and Bomb Unit turning the 4700 block of 1st Street Southwest into a controlled detonation zone with a large mound of dirt, wet sandbags, and a truck acting as a barrier to the blast.
We were asking around what's happening. They were saying, I thought there was a crime at first, or like there is, but apparently there's a suspicious package.
According to police, a local moving company was hired to dispose of several substances, but the chemicals were mislabeled and sat in a package for 10 days. When the company opened the pallet Tuesday, they called 911, and investigators determined the hazardous material included picric acid, which is highly volatile when dried. It's used in labs and is more powerful and less stable than TNT, and was behind the 1917 explosion that destroyed much of Halifax.
And when it's transported in the proper packaging, it is safe. But in this particular case, because of the way it was left, because of the mislabeling, the fact is that after 10 days that some of the containers started to deteriorate, and so it became a different form of chemical, and it became more dangerous.
Police quickly evacuated businesses and nearby homes for public safety, then further extended the evacuation zone on Wednesday.
It is a small area of both commercial and residential. There's a very small number
of residential homes in that area, and those folks have been evacuated and are being taken care of by Red Cross if they need some additional assistance.
Many who work in the area were rattled by the experience, but are eager to learn when they can return.
They're taking it quite seriously, so if anything had happened, it would have been quite scary because I work close by.
Losing all those calls and customers and stuff, right? Because we do have a lot of walk-in clientele, and then with our plaza being shut down and the businesses around us, it really hurts.
Police have now launched a criminal investigation to determine how this happened. Terry Fikowski, CTV News, Calgary.
And Calgary police are also on scene at a library in the Huntington Hills neighborhood. A suspicious package was located inside the library this afternoon. The building also houses a health center, social services, and a daycare. First officers on scene decided the package needed further investigation before deciding its threat level. The library is closed until the package can be inspected. Because of resources tied up in the Manchester industrial area, it's not clear how long it will take to determine if the item is dangerous. As birds begin migrating through Edmonton, the potential for deadly window crashes increases. Every year in Canada, millions of birds die after hitting a window. CTV's Merrick DeCash explains how those collisions can be prevented.
Customers at Wild Birds Unlimited have been stocking up on window deterrents as we enter migration season.
I've witnessed it happen in this city and in other cities. It's a very big problem during migration.
Window strikes are a problem Art Nystad is all too familiar with.
And unfortunately, if they're coming in pretty fast, they're not going to survive.
According to Birds Canada, 25 million birds die every year after crashing into a window.
They will often see things like the sky or trees in a window and think that that's just more forest or sky that they can fly to.
The best way to make sure you don't end up with a dead bird in your yard is to make your windows more visible.
And there's basically solid decals that you can put on the glass, and then there's some more clear decals that you can basically, so that you can look out the windows and not be obstructed. And then we have some like dots that you can put on the windows.
Experts recommend solid decals or small dots instead of clear reflective strips.
If they can see it and they realize it's there, then it gives them a better chance of not striking the window, right?
If a bird does hit your window and survives,
the best thing to do is just not to touch it, because you may end up making the situation worse. So what you can do is then contact Wild North, and they will be able to give you step-by-step instructions.
Merrick DeCash, CTV News, Edmonton.
And if a bird does strike your window, you can report it on the Global Bird Collision Map website. The information is used in research and education efforts worldwide. For more information, head to our website, ctvnewsedmonton.ca. Click on News Links. Well, for the first time in more than 30 years, biologists from a number of agencies are joining forces to study fish populations in a southern Alberta river. Biologists are using a technique called electrofishing to identify species that call the creek home. Kevin Fleming reports.
They've had to wait for the water to clear after a record July rainfall. Now this team is collecting data from 30 sites in Fish Creek and its tributaries. Elliot Lindsay operates an electrofisher and works a 300-meter section of the creek.
So the person wearing the backpack, they're putting out about 200 to 300 volts of DC current into the water at a really low amperage. And what happens is that causes fish, their muscles on either side of their body to contract.
The stunned fish are then captured and placed in a bucket. This is the first time anyone's looked at what's living in the watershed since 1992. The team is now in Pritis, but started where the creek meets the Bow River.
We caught a lot of fish. I think we caught almost 600 fish in a 300-meter reach. And we did document Prussian carp there. So those fish were not here in the 90s at all, anywhere. So that's like a new development.
Ross Anderson says the team is putting in long days to document the species, but he says most of the fish they're finding upstream are what they'd expect to find.
In these areas, we're finding a lot of long-nosed dace, trout perch,
white suckers, and then some trout as well, rainbow trout.
Fish Creek is an incredibly important tributary for a lot of spawning trout fish, so it does absolutely play into the sport fishing that we see in the Bow River.
David Swan knows Fish Creek well and is looking forward to seeing the results of the study.
Climate change seems to be a factor, clear-cut logging up in the Kananaskis, and a lot of withdrawals along the Fish and Priddis Creeks. So we've got to find out more about the quality and quantity of water here.
Researchers are hopeful to complete their field work by the end of this month. Then they say it'll take another couple of months to compile all that information, and they're hopeful that the finished study will be released sometime later this fall or early next year. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Priddis.
Stay with us after the break. The search for valuable vintage clothing.
Looking for colors and patterns and fabrics that really pop out to me, and this is jumping out to me a little bit.
We tag along on a shopping trip and get some tips on how to thrift like a pro. Also next.
These dietary supplements in particular are very, very easily accessible.
Canadian pediatricians warn about the physical and mental impacts of workout supplements on kids.
Programming brought to you by Century Casino. 3 great locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Secondhand and vintage shopping is a big business for many Canadians. One local seller scours several locations a week in search of valuable vintage pieces. CTV's Nerman Issa tagged along for tips on how to find a diamond in the rough.
This is a dress from the 1960s. It's a little mod mini dress.
Dressed the part, Haley Wright gets ready to find some vintage pieces.
As I'm going through, I'm looking for colors and patterns and fabrics that really pop out to me.
Wright found this floral dress believed to be from the 70s.
I'm shopping as much with my eyes as I am with my hands, and that's why as I go down the rack, I've got one hand ready to pounce to feel for an interesting fabric, like this piece, for example. This is from the late 1960s.
Wright is a regular at the Southside Value Village. She looks for clothing and accessories from the 1920s to the 1970s.
Once you start to recognize the patterns, the silhouettes, the fabrics, the fastenings that would be typical for those time periods, then those pieces almost just start jumping out at you in the racks.
Wright is the owner of Rewilding Vintage. It started off as a hobby and is now a full-time job. She posts her finds through her Instagram and Etsy shops.
A couple of weeks ago, I found a dress from the 1920s, which was hiding in a rack at Value Village. I also have a really gorgeous 1930s velvet hat.
The manager of this Value Village store says some of the pieces donated have left her in awe, including jewelry from the 1800s.
It was in 14 karat gold, and it was the first time I had ever seen something from that era come in, and it was of earrings and a brooch.
Wright says there's no better feeling than finding that perfect piece.
To be the person that gets to bring it home and care for it and hopefully bring it back to life and then send it out and off to its forever home, it's the most joy I've ever had.
So as these clothes get donated,
I see something very cute.
Wright hopes these pieces will keep getting recycled for decades more to come. Naramisa, CTV News, Edmonton.
With another look at your weather, here's CTV's Jackie Perez.
Well, clear, sunny skies for pretty much all of today, and the heat carrying on until the next several days. Taking a look at tomorrow, clear skies will carry on. There is a little bit of light cloud cover on my Cold Lake, but it is expected to clear out most of the day. We're expecting some clear, sunny skies for Edmonton and area. There's a little bit of activity down by Banff, but it isn't expected to affect parts of northern Alberta at all. Even getting into Friday, we are looking at clear, sunny skies. So really, it's all about the heat that we've been talking about well throughout these next several days. The heat warning remaining in effect. And yes, the morning are going to have some cooler temperatures. Cooler start today, 13 in Fort McMurray as well as Slave Lake and Grand Prairie, 12 degrees in Red Deer. But then look at the highs for tomorrow. They're going to nearly double, even extend that as well. Taking a look, Fort McMurray getting to 33, as well as Cold Lake and Lake Leveche. Slave Lake about 28 degrees. Grand Prairie sitting at 33. Lots of sunshine as well for the northern part of Alberta. A little bit more more cloud cover as we look to southern Alberta, 32 in Coronation, 32 also in Lloydminster with a mix of sun and cloud. But for the most part, look at Jasper, sunshine and heat at 32 degrees. So yeah, lather up the sunscreen as well as stay as hydrated as possible, because the thing is that this heat wave is going to carry on into the weekend. 25 for the evening, 10 p.m. Not much in terms of relief, but we will get a little bit here in Edmonton. 15 degrees for that cool condition, getting to a daytime high of 33 degrees and sunshine. And we may even see another record-breaking day. Now, Thursday, we are forecasting 34 degrees for the daytime high. The record, 32, and that was set in 1934. So there is a likeliness that we are going to break that record for daytime highs. Friday, we are also in the chance for on pace for breaking that, but we are sitting about 32 is what we're forecasting. Then things are going to start to cool off. Sunshine for Saturday into Sunday, but you can see that temperatures are going to start to dip by the time we get to Sunday, 28 degrees. And then Monday, looking at much cooler conditions, about a 10-degree difference for our Labor Day. 23 is the daytime high. So yes, reprieve and cool conditions is on the way, but for the next several days, that 30-degree heat is going to last for Edmonton.
Canadian researchers are warning about the risks of popular workout supplements. In a new survey, hundreds of pediatricians say an increasing number of kids are consuming protein powder and creatine. CTV's Pauline Chan reports on potential health risks.
The survey looked at 857 pediatricians across Canada and showed 17% of them had dealt with adolescents who needed medical attention because of dietary supplements or performance-type drugs over the past year.
Most of them are related to things like gastrointestinal issues or maybe some sort of like cardiac issues, maybe in arrhythmias, things of that nature.
Kidney problems were also common. The vast majority of the patients were boys. More than half were aged 13 to 15, and a third were aged 10 to 12. More than half of the doctors say they never screen regularly for supplements or performance-enhancing chemicals, and a quarter said they had no knowledge about the substances.
I think the important thing is just to recognize, especially for parents and pediatricians and healthcare providers at large, is that these dietary supplements in particular are very, very easily accessible. You can buy them at Costco, you can buy them at Shoppers.
Items such as whey powder, pre-workout mixes, and creatine are also available online. And lead researcher Kyle Ganson says their use has been increasing in teens recently.
Certainly social media is a big proponent of this and obviously influencing a lot of young people to go towards some of these supplements.
Use of illegal drugs such as anabolic steroids has also been on the rise in kids, and Ganson says the harms are not just physical.
Also things like body image issues or other disordered eating patterns or overexercising, which again can also cause some other problems.
He says parents and healthcare providers need to know more about these substances and encourage safe use of them. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Still ahead, a state in mourning.
Don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying.
A mass to celebrate the beginning of a new school year turns deadly. Also ahead.
It's the broader issues with the U.S. federal government, the militarization of their cities.
More than half of Canadians with property in the States looking to sell.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Two children are dead and 17 other people are injured after a gunman opened fire on a church in Minneapolis. The FBI says it's investigating the shooting as domestic terrorism and a hate crime against Catholics. NBC's Chris Pallone has the latest.
Another mass shooting in America, this time in Minneapolis.
Just before 8:30 a.m., our city experienced an unthinkable tragedy.
It happened at Annunciation Church as children from the adjoining Catholic school celebrated the start of a new year with a mass. Neighbors described hearing the unmistakable sound of gunfire.
It was sporadic, it was a semi-automatic. It seemed like a rifle. It certainly didn't sound like a handgun.
Police say a gunman, early 20s, dressed in black, barricaded the church doors and opened fire.
Shooting through the windows, he struck children and worshipers that were inside the building.
It was really scary.
10-year-old Weston Halsney says shots came through the window next to him.
I just ran under the pew, and then I covered my head. My friend like saved me, though, because he laid on top of me, but he got hit.
Police have now identified the shooter.
That coward has been identified as 23-year-old Robin Westman. No prior criminal history.
Police say Westman was armed with a rifle, shotgun, and pistol, all bought legally.
We're also aware of a manifesto that the shooter had timed to be released on YouTube. This manifesto appeared to show him at the scene and included some disturbing writings.
Police say the suspect died by suicide at the scene.
It's Minnesota's day today, and it's my strongest desire that no state, no community, no school ever experiences a day like this.
And don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in a church.
Investigators say the motive for the attack is still unclear. Chris Pallone, NBC News.
Canada's Justice Minister says shared priorities were the focus of talks on border security with U.S. officials today. Sean Fraser called the 45-minute meeting in Washington productive. Canada's Minister of Public Safety and so-called fentanyl czar were also there. Fraser says the talks were an opportunity to highlight Canada's ongoing efforts to fight against fentanyl and transnational criminal organizations. Royal LePage says a recent U.S. selling spree could mean more people snapping up recreational properties in Alberta. The company's latest report shows 54% of Canadians who own property in the U.S. are planning on selling in the next year. More than 60% of the people cite the political climate. The rest say it's for financial or personal reasons. An estimated 750,000 Canadians own property in the U.S.
Americans themselves are lovely people and a lot like Canadians, and in the communities these people live, there isn't the issue. It's the broader issues with the U.S. federal government, the militarization of their cities.
Of the Canadians who have sold or intend to sell, the survey found about a third of them plan to reinvest that capital into Canada. The Prime Minister wrapped up his trip to Europe with a visit to Canadian soldiers stationed in Latvia. Soldiers there are taking part in Operation Reassurance, launched following Russia's initial invasion of Ukraine in 2014. Mark Carney offered up a message of gratitude after promising new military spending. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
Inside a field ambulance, up close with tanks, Prime Minister Mark Carney talked to dozens of Canadian troops to learn what they do, and he heard what they need.
And you see how important, for lack of a better term, drones are in the Ukraine fight. We are watching, studying, understanding how that fight is there, but we need those pieces of equipment here in Latvia.
Drone operator Wayne Fraser says modernization would help too, right down to his tactical vest.
It is a little outdated. There's no modular capability with it, which can be a little bit impeding.
We're also, back home, creating a new defense procurement agency so we can build at pace. So the women and men of the armed forces have cutting-edge military equipment that they need and deserve.
About 200 kilometers from the Russian border, the Prime Minister announced a 3-year extension of Operation Reassurance, saying, unfortunately, the need for the Canadian-led NATO mission here has only intensified. Carney didn't take questions. His defense minister pushed on whether Canadian troops in Ukraine was a possibility, regardless of a ceasefire.
These conversations are continuing. Obviously, the United States has an important role to play. So we'll see.
Latvia was the last stop on a 4-country European tour for the Prime Minister, who told Canadian troops here in Latvia what he told Ukrainians in Kyiv, that the strategy for Russia needs to be deter and fortify. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Camp Adige, Latvia.
Canada's top hockey players are in our province this week for Hockey Canada's orientation camp ahead of the 2026 Winter Olympics. The event in Calgary is a chance for the men, women, and para-athletes to get together and bond as Team Canada before the Games. For the men, this is their first appearance in the Olympics since 2014. Sidney Crosby scored the golden goal in Vancouver and also played in the Sochi Olympics, where Canada also won the gold medal. For many others, this will be their first Games.
It's really important for us, and obviously as Team Canada, you want to try to come together as best you can.
I know for myself, the hockey after the Four Nations was
the fastest, tightest checking, most difficult hockey I've ever played and ever been a part of. So I can only imagine, what it's going to be like at the Olympics and that next level. And that's what ultimately everybody wants is sport at the highest level, and that's what the Olympics is all about.
The 2026 Winter Olympics take place in Italy next February. And while at the camp, Oilers captain Connor McDavid also faced questions about his future.
I said at the end of June, I had every intention just to take my time with it, and I still feel the same way. Take my time and go through everything, and I have every intention to win in Edmonton. That's my only focus. Maybe next to winning a gold medal with Canada.
TSN is reporting McDavid and the Oilers have yet to discuss the price or length of the captain's next potential NHL contract. McDavid says he doesn't have a preference whether a new deal is reached before or after the NHL season begins. He says all options are on the table. McDavid became eligible for a contract extension on July 1st. If he doesn't have a new deal in place by next July, he can sign with any team. Oilers tickets for the upcoming season go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. Coming up, another blow to Canadian small business.
And it's coming at a time where you don't necessarily have a lot of resilience in the small business sector.
U.S. plans to revoke duty-free shipping on many parcels will affect businesses on both sides of the border. And there's a live look from the CTV drone. The evening rush hour coming to an end in West Edmonton. Anthony Henday Drive in the heat. Another day above 30. A couple more to go. Stay with us.
Programming brought to you by Southview Acura. For family-owned, award-winning excellence, Southview Acura, where luxury meets reality.
Looking at the markets, the Canadian dollar closed at 72 cents U.S. Oil gained 90 cents, closing the day at $64.15 U.S. a barrel. Gold gained more than $15 on the day. The TSX and Dow Jones both finished the day up, 93 points and 147 points, respectively. The United States is planning to end duty-free shipping on many packages by the end of this week. That has Canadian businesses who depend on being able to ship to American customers bracing for higher costs. CTV's Rachel Aiello has more on the end of the de minimis exemption.
The United States is scrapping its tariff exemption on parcels worth $800 or less. It means starting Friday, all of those U.S.-bound shipments will be hit with duties.
It would have an immediate impact. The antique parts of our business are a substantial part of what we do. We've seen that business growing over the years, especially down into the U.S.
Many small shop owners like David Pelkey are facing a tough choice. Absorb or pass on the cost, cut off a key market, or go through the complex process of becoming CUSMA compliant.
This is going to have implications for a lot of Canadian businesses, and it's coming at a time where you don't necessarily have a lot of resilience in the small business sector.
But U.S. President Donald Trump dumping de minimis is also set to cost American consumers and could result in big headaches for border agents.
It was there for a reason.
Millions of duty-free packages enter the U.S. daily, but with this change looming, postal operators in at least 25 countries are suspending U.S. shipping, citing the lack of clarity around enforcement. Canada Post is not one of them. Instead, they'll be using a third-party program to collect and send the duties directly to U.S. Customs. The Crown Corporation said the duty will be equal to the tariff rate of a product's country of origin. For Canada, the current rate is 35% for most goods. A key caveat to take note of, Canada Post flagged to us today that documents and gifts valued under $100 sent from Canadians, not businesses, will be exempt. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Thousands of Air Canada flight attendants have started voting on a new tentative agreement. The airline and its union agreed to the deal last week with the help of a federal mediator that ended a strike that disrupted flights for thousands of customers. Terms of the deal include incremental pay hikes over 4 years and limited pay for work done while the plane is on the ground. The ground pay terms are considered final regardless of the results of the ratification vote. More than 10,000 workers are eligible to vote until next Saturday afternoon. If the deal is approved, it would run until March 2029. Telefilm Canada has selected Canada's submission for Best International Feature at the Next Academy Awards. The Things You Kill is a psychological thriller from Iranian-Canadian filmmaker Alreza Khatami. The Turkish-language film tells the story of a university professor haunted by questions about his mother's death. The Academy will announce its shortlist for the international feature category in December. The Oscars take place on March 15th. Instagram parent company Meta says online reaction to Taylor Swift's engagement post was record-breaking.
A giant congratulations for being engaged! Let's go! The proposal heard around the world!
That's Travis Kelce's brother Jason sending enthusiastic well wishes to the newly engaged couple. Millions of others also liked the news of the engagement. The joint post racked up 14 million likes in 1 hour, which Meta says is a record for Instagram. Scientists have discovered a 165-million-year-old dinosaur skeleton, revealing what they call extreme armor. The dinosaur had spikes on its ribs and back and a weaponized tail. The discovery pushes back the origin of tail weapons by 30 million years. In the journal Nature, researchers say the elaborate features may have served as both defense and display. Previous knowledge of the species was based on only a single partial rib fossil. Still ahead, a surprise at sea.
There's not enough thank yous for what they did for my son here and me.
An encounter with strangers leads to a dream voyage. Stay with us.
Stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you tonight on CTV.
A Canadian teen with cerebral palsy and his mother are about to take the trip of a lifetime. As CTV's Ryan McDonald reports, it's thanks to the generosity of a couple of strangers.
For the past couple of years, Nicole McNeil and her 16-year-old son, Devin, have made a habit of coming down to the Sydney waterfront to watch cruise ships come in.
Devin loves the ships. He loves watching the gangways. He loves watching the people. He loves the socialization.
A couple of weeks ago, though, an encounter with a pair of visitors from the Majestic Princess, which was in Sydney on August the 14th, would change their lives. McNeil says they have been chatting with the couple from Maryland for only a minute or two while they were on land, but as the ship was leaving at the end of the day, their new friends yelled something down to them from the boat's deck.
They said, if we pay for a cruise for you and your son, will you take him? I was shocked. I hollered up. I said, what? Are you serious? And he's like, yes.
I don't know if Nicole and Devin miss a ship day, and they have actually become cruise ambassadors for us at the port.
The cruise manager for the Port of Sydney says everyone who works there is thrilled to hear that the visiting couple made good on their offer, and that McNeil and her son have been booked for a 7-day cruise aboard a Princess ship, all expenses paid.
Nicole is such a dedicated mother to Devin, and she really puts him first. So I hope that she gets to really sit back and relax with him, and it's very well deserved. We can't wait to hear all about it when they come home.
Nicole and Devin are set to fly out from Halifax to New York City next Friday. They board the ship in the Big Apple on Saturday, September the 6th, and then travel up the East Coast, finishing full circle at their final stop in Halifax about a week later.
And I just can't wait to see his face when he gets to go, when he's actually on board and he actually knows that he's going to sleep on the cruise ship.
McNeil says if they were to pay for a cruise themselves, she would have had to save up for a long time.
And I'm going to try not to get teary-eyed, but it's just amazing to see. And there's no words. There's not enough thank yous for what they did for my son here and me.
And while the trip they're about to head out on will last about a week, she says that the gesture of kindness is one that she hopes will turn a pair of strangers into friends for life. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Sydney.
And that is our show for this evening. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us. For news anytime, visit ctvnewsedmonton.ca, or you can watch us on the CTV channel on YouTube. See ya.